Okay, so my involvement with my kids came about the lack of involvement that I had from my parents, and that's probably a bit different because they had so many children, and I wanted better for my kids. I wanted them to have an education. Um, I didn't get that education to which I'm sorry, I didn't get that until I got older, and I wanted that up front for them straight up. So it started with building the relationship. So I moved to Sydney with them. I put them into Mount Carmel, enrolled them there. Luckily enough, one of the teachers there was one of my teachers when I was here at school, and which made it easy. It was I was a single mum, so it was very hard, to get out there. So I had that one person that got me in there straight away. So I just became involved in their little homework group that they had there. I was a bit hesitant about joining the parent group because I was a bit shy, but I pushed myself to do it because at the end of the day it was not about me, it was about my kids. And so I did that. I knew when, because of that, then the relationship went right. Basically, not just went from just the parents, it went from there to the teachers, to the principal. Everybody within the school. Thank God, I've got a daughter. Peter was a bit shy, Swana was really out there. And I always seen the pride in her face when I got there, and that made me want to go. Pete was really shy, he needed a lot of encouragement, and so I was always making sure that, and by me being involved, the teachers was aware on how he was shy. Don't think that Peter's been disrespectful if he's not looking at you in the eye. He's just, and because of that engagement and that relationship I had with them, they were aware of my kids, I also had that relationship with them outside of the school, where I'd have my sister Dorothy come into my home visiting me, homework, dinner time, TV was never on because that was my time with my children. And because I worked. So at dinner time, TV be off. How was your day today? What homework have you got? Because I was learning too, I didn't know all the answers. And when I didn't know all the answers, and if I couldn't help them, I knew that I could go into the school and say, and not feel ashamed of it like I was in the beginning because I built that relationship up. I don't know this, and how could I teach my kids this? So then I started learning a little bit too. And I grew there. That was like going back to school for me. So I grew also within that school with them kids, my babies. And then we moved from there to Batemans Bay, and then I put them into, they went to Batemans Bay High School then. First I started in, a little town called Mogo, a little very small school. And Miss One, of course, was way out there, and she was so bright. She was doing algebra, and I didn't even know what algebra was. I didn't know that perspective. So she was teaching me all, and she was even teaching some of the teachers at Mogo School this stuff. And then I got really involved in that school, and it was such a small little community that I got on all the committees, and then they went on to high school. I joined the ASPA committee. I fought for the non-Indigenous parents who had Indigenous children to make sure that, I found them serving us afternoon tea, and we're sitting here making decisions about their children's education, So, I brought that to the committee and all the Indigenous families and parents that were there. And we had a really good group down there. And so, those parents were, able to, and that was that segregation. And I don't like segregation. And I just thought it wasn't right. And so, we started from, I used to have such a relationship with the principal there that she'd ring me up, Laurel, the girls are playing up. Not just my daughter, but the girls are playing up. Could you come down? I'd go down and I'd say to her, let me just take them over the beach for a while, and I would. I'd do that. And I'd say to them, because if they were fighting amongst themselves, and girls are like, so I'd get them over there and I'd say, what are you doing fighting amongst yourselves, you think they're white kids, they sit back and they watch this and they like this stuff, Don't do, you've got more important things to do than bicker about each other. And it was always about, I always had a thing about education. I've always had a thing about personal hygiene, because I came from a mission and I didn't want to be seen as a dirty little black kid, I made sure that I was a very clean person. I made sure about appearance. And so I started incorporating that. And the teachers used to let me come in. I used to have talk with our girls. And then, and it just went beyond that, and then I realised then it shouldn't not be, we talk about reconciliation, and it's not just about us black kids and us black families. It should be a two-way street, So I started doing, I remember when I first came to Armidale, I wasn't working, I wasn't involved, I only just came home. But I got myself into a women's group, and we found in this women's group that we had young kids at school, young girls at school, fighting a lot in the school, in the streets. So I decided that let's do a girls' group, camp, but not just take the Indigenous kids. Let's find out, and I became really close with one of the police officers here, and she's the domestic violence, support worker in Armidale. So she told me which of the girls who were fighting, basically, with which non-Indigenous girls. So we picked the Indigenous girls and the non-Indigenous girls. We took them on a camp, and I got this little idea from that movie. Remember The Titans with Denzel Washington, and how he paired the blacks and the whites off who didn't get on? I did exactly that. And I made them. They had to do, the little pen and paper and go. We had a fan, and I had really good leaders come out, and do, but not just leaders. I had parents come out. I had nanas come out. I had aunties and uncles come out giving talks about community, about family, about education. There was a whole range of different people that we got to come out. And after that camp, going home in that bus, they were all singing, hugging, when are we going to do another one, and that's what I'm talking about. It's about knowing your community, knowing what's going. It's not just and that's what I'm saying about school boundaries. And some of our educators think that things only just happen within that school. They don't go beyond them boundaries. And we, as Aboriginal people, we have kinship, and our boundaries is wide. I can go from one end of New South Wales way up to Queensland. I've got family. And where I live is, I know everybody. I'm related to just about everyone in town, but I know my community. And what I've done, I've built a relationship outside of my own people. I have a range of, one of my best friends, like I told you, she's a police officer in town. I'm on that many different boards in town because I'm so passionate about my community. And my community doesn't stop at that mission. It's this whole place,